Let's see.
Oh,
Hey, there we go. You're in it.
way too close to me.
Refused it. So hopefully we're good. I'm not super Instagram savvy. So I remember the first time we did this was a couple months ago when COVID first started, and it was with some of the local businesses in town, and I had to have my little sister show me how to do it because I had never never done Instagram live before. So are you having a good day, Stacey?
Yeah, so far.
Has it been busy? I know you said this is your busy season, right?
I think all times are busy times here.
All times are busy times when you're on
Yeah.
a tree farm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's fair. So I had a few people request questions. Are
Sure.
you okay if I ask you that as we go also?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And for those of you, I think there's only one person watching right now, but I'll post a video of it later. I know Stacey and I are some popular people. If you aren't watching live, you're missing out on the fun we're going to be having. But if you have questions on that you still want me to ask and you missed the live stream, just let me know and I will send them over to Stacey and see if we can get some answers, as well as I'll post the recording later so you guys have it. So Stacey, how did you start working with trees? I know lots of people like trees, but not everyone does it every day. So I was curious.
Well, I guess like I've always loved trees. As a kid, I climbed them, but I got into this job actually through sailing.
Oh, really?
So I was working at the university as a paleontologist, and I was offered to come work at Wheatland Trees, and it just eventually evolved into the role of grower.
Yeah. Is that ever cool? So are there similarities between paleontology then and stuff related to trees, or how does that work?
Well, I had been thinking about doing paleobotany, but I decided to change that focus. As an undergraduate, we take just an absolute plethora of courses. So
yeah,
and I did advanced paleobotany. You know, yes, you wonder how an ancient thing would help with living, but if you don't understand the ancient stuff, you can't really understand the living, and vice versa.
Yeah,
It all
that's fair.
correlates.
You have your PhD in it, is that right?
I have a PhD in paleontology. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, is that ever funny that that's how you ended up there? So do you remember your first day on the job at Wheatland Trees, what it was like?
I think probably I was to start on the Monday and I came in on the Friday, and that was probably one of my most like riveting days because we had this master pruner, and I'm probably going to butcher his name. It's Edzar, and I took him around to our farms and showed him the trees that we might be interested in having pruned up, like kind of like an Edward Scissorhand thing. And so I spent the whole day with him, and it was just like mind blowing. He's just absolutely brilliant, and trying to teach me all of these different techniques to make like ugly trees into beautiful trees. So
yeah, I didn't know like pruning was a mastery skill. That's so interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have like books and books on it.
On pruning.
Yes.
That's so crazy. Is there one of the questions actually people wanted to know is it too late to prune your trees this year?
Actually, the best time to prune is in the winter.
Oh, is it really? How come?
Ultimately, the best time to prune is the winter because at that point you can see the structure of your tree, especially deciduous, the one with leaves.
Yeah.
And then you can see if there's any crossing branches, damaged branches. You can see the shape of your tree.
Yeah.
So, and also in the spring, it's not a good time because trees are like us, since they release hormones and such. So if they get injured, some trees will release some hormones and such, which will attract insects, and that's not what you want.
Yeah.
And or they'll release some of their sap, which will also attract insects and possibly pathogens with the open wound. You know, when we get a cut and we clean it up, it's a little more difficult to clean the tree's cut. So the best time is the winter because the tree's dormant.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I feel like pruning trees is something people always do, with like spring cleaning or things like that, or,
That
getting them neatened up kind of thing. So you said with cross branches, like branches that are crossing each other, do you want to get rid of one of them then? So
yeah,
there's space to grow?
yeah.
General rule
So
of thumb.
you want to open the canopy up so that there's
Hmm.
actually air circulation. That'll help reduce disease and such also. Because
Yeah.
disease is, a big problem. And also, so if the more circulation you get in there, the better it is for the tree.
Hmm. You mentioning that about disease, another question people had too is on some Mayday trees, you get sort of those black growths. Are
Black
you
knot.
familiar with that at all?
Yeah, it's a fungus. It's called black knot. It's just, it's unsightly, but the best way
Hmm.
to deal with it is cut it off, put it in a garbage bag, seal
Yeah.
it up tight, and take it to the dump. Um, if you control it, it will go away. But
Yeah.
you also have to see what your neighbors are doing, person down the street. If they're not
Mhm.
controlling the black knot, like go knock on your neighbor's door and say, "Can I prune out that black knot because it's spreading throughout the neighborhood?"
Yeah.
That's probably your best idea.
Hmm.
Um, but it is unsightly, and yes, it'll grow and it'll spread everywhere. But
Yeah.
you prune it out.
So, what would you say when you're looking at growing trees in particular? What makes a good quality tree if people are looking to get a tree?
I would recommend always buy a tree that is from this zone.
Yeah.
Don't like we're the government is trying to tell us we're zone 3,
Hmm.
but Calgary is a very difficult growing zone.
Yeah.
We have the massive fluctuations in temperatures, and with the Chinooks, which are wonderful to have, they're very hard on trees.
Hmm.
So look at zone 2, marginal zone 3 trees. If you're going to do that, make sure you read up on the trees. And then it all comes down to your own personal preference. Like, do you like pink flowers, white flowers, purple
Yeah.
flowers, green leaves, pokey trees, non-pokey trees, those technical terms. So the biggest thing is, and then also knowing where the seed um, has originated from. Because if you get one that the provenance is not for our zone, it's, the chances of it is surviving is not as good because the genetics
Hmm.
aren't as strong.
Yeah.
So finding out where the tree originated from is really important. And um, tree farms, in particular, will know where their trees are coming from. So,
Yeah. Do you have a particular type of trees or a tree that you like or would recommend to people?
well, I think my favorite tree in the trees that we can grow here is probably the Schubert chokecherry, and I know everyone's going to go, "Oh no, not that." The reason why I like it is it's got the flowers and it's green in the spring, and then during the summer, it progressively changes into the purple, and you can see it like changing, and then the fall, it just kind of loses its leaves. But it's a very, in my mind, very dynamic tree,
Yeah.
and um, so that's why I really like it because it just you have a different tree as almost like
Hmm.
the seasons go through. So
Yeah. Is that ever cool? So is it too late to plant or not? You can
no,
still plant.
yeah, right now is actually spring and fall are the best times to plant. So summer, the only reason why summer's not great is because it can be quite hot and you might not water it enough, or
Hmm.
it might rain too much and then it gets saturated. Because
Yeah.
one of the big things is you can actually, most people don't understand is you can overwater a tree. And
Yeah.
we call it killing your tree with kindness. You think you're being really nice, go, no, I watered it every day, but you're
Yeah.
actually drowning it. So
I think I might be guilty of that with even a few of my house plants inside. They get a bit too much love, which isn't always good for them,
they like to
obviously.
they like to dry a little bit,
Hmm.
just as healthy. We don't like to stand in a bucket of water as our owner always says. Do you like to stand in a bucket of water all day?
Yeah.
The tree want to stand in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to remember it. We had another person ask a question. They want to know if there's any recommendation for choke cherry propagation. So, is there a best time to cut, or can you do it that way?
Well, for the hardwood cuttings, best to do it in the spring before it leaves out. So you can you go find a tree. Hopefully you have permission to cut the branches off the tree. And then you pick the straightest ones, and then you can just cut them, put them in some root propagation, stick them in the dirt, and start to grow. In the spring before it leaves out.
Yeah.
You want to do that.
And then is that the same for willows as well?
Yep.
And is there any particular way to go about cutting them? Like how much of the branch you need to leave?
So what we typically do is about how long is this length?
Like a ruler size?
Yeah, I was just trying to find my ruler for there. So if I said that, about 6 inches worth.
Yeah.
So
and then you just put them in water. Do you?
No.
Is that?
Use a root propagator. So you dip in the root propagator and then make a hole slightly bigger than the branch. Stick it in there, put the dirt around it, and then water it.
Yeah.
You want a few of those nodes on the branch, the little bud nodes. If you only have one, that means that only one is going to branch out. So if you have a few, it's better.
You know how with tulips and that kind of thing, you plant them at this time of year for them to bloom in the spring? Is there anything like that with trees, that there's an equivalent you have to do in winter to have a good spring with your trees?
That's a good question. Not that I'm aware.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen so many people lately on Instagram and social media planting their big rows of garlic, all the bulbs dumped in, and it was making me think of that recently. I read on the Wheatland Trees website under your description that you're interested in growing specialty trees to meet customer needs. So are there some variations or types of specialty trees you're hoping to grow in the future?
See, that's mainly stated so that people come to us and say, hey, can I do this? And we go, and that goes back to not my first day, the first day before my first day. With Edzar, and we really want to get into I don't like killing a tree, so sometimes trees get returned because they get rejected from the city and they're kind of ugly. So how can we make that ugly tree like really unique?
So what do you do when you get those trees back to revitalize it?
Well, you have to look at the structure and see where you can how you can dogs in this place are just crazy.
No, it's okay. Mine is scratching outside the greenhouse trying to get in to where I am.
So what we're just trying to do is create just a different structure to the tree. And also what I wanted to work on this year and didn't have a chance is the espalier apple trees, the ones that, they're out in just one plane. And I didn't have a chance with COVID. Everything was just, a little bit crazy.
It was crazy, yeah.
Getting our guys from Mexico up here in time so we could start doing all the work. So, but the espalier trees, I really want to get into, especially for apple trees, because if you have a smaller yard, it's only like on one plane. So you could put it against your fence and then get apples. I posted that, I think, in the spring. And then I had a couple of friends that posted a bunch of pictures, and they had actually done espalier and they had massive amounts of fruit, like tons of apples. So it was pretty cool to see someone actually did it. I have a whole farm and I didn't do it.
Do you have, this is actually the last question people sent me, a type of apple tree you think is best for eating that we can grow here? So it can even be like a crab apple or things like that, but that you think make the nicest apples.
That once again comes down to preference. What you're like, I don't like certain types of apples. So it comes down to preference. We, at this moment, only carry certain apples and crab apples, and it's all on our website. But we're open to bringing in other ones. We have combination apples.
Yeah. So what's a combination apple then?
It has at least 2 or 3 different apples on that tree.
Oh, cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
So then are they crossed, the trees? Is that how you get them?
You just graft a branch on.
Yeah. I've seen that. I think we actually have one tree here that you've done that. And so to graft the branch, is it the same as propagating the stems, but you do it
No.
in the tree?
No, so you actually would cut a branch off of the tree and have another branch that's the same size.
Yeah.
And you attach it and then you tape it.
Yeah. And then do
So,
you plant that? Is
no,
that
it's
how-
like literally the tree's there and you
Oh,
cut
I
off.
see.
Like if I could cut off my arm,
Yeah.
stick your arm on because your arm's better.
Yeah.
What it's like. So trees have this phenomenal ability to take on within the same genus, which is
Yeah.
Malus, that other tree's branch, and it starts growing as that tree.
Yeah. Is that ever interesting? I didn't know you could actually have an apple tree that had multiple types
Yeah, and
of
pear.
apples. It sounds like you can have whatever you want with your apple trees. More or
Oh,
less.
and pear trees also.
Can we grow pears here at all?
Yes, yeah.
Will they get to an edible state, or will they not? Like, there's not enough time for them to mature.
Yep. Yeah. As long as the sea, then once again that plays into what's the weather going to be like. But
Yeah.
once again I had some friends that have grown them, and we didn't have any on the farm this year that I know of, unless all the guys ate them and didn't tell me about it. And sometimes our trees just don't get big enough because everyone wants to buy them, so they ship off sooner.
Yeah.
So I think the guys probably ate them all.
Probably they were being passed around somewhere on the farm.
Yeah, yeah.
The last question I have for you is, how do you see the landscaping business changing or growing over the next couple of years?
In my own little brain, personally, I'd like to see less grass and more native.
Mhm.
Native grasses, native flowers. We're already seeing that progression to that. Grass is actually in many ways kind of hard on your tree, especially if you plant it around your tree.
Yeah.
It takes all the tree's water. So
Mhm.
going more to like natural grasses, natural flowers, and I like the natural side of things. I love beautiful green lawns because they're great to run on and such.
Yeah.
But if you want less work to do around your yard
Mm-hmm.
throughout the summer, you can just leave your non-grass because
Yeah.
you mow it. You don't have to buy a mower, and then put lots of trees in. Also, we have already noticed, and something I was keen on, is people are planting little mini orchards. So
Oh, that sounds cool.
yeah, and then so that with whole biosecurity,
Mhm.
exactly what is in your apples and crab apples.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can harvest your own. So
Yeah. So
that's
sort of this idea is to move back to what would naturally grow here, and that you can self-sustain yourself more.
well, a little more. I don't think you're ever going to be totally sustained.
We're gonna live off apples, only apples.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good. But moving towards that angle is,
Yeah.
and we actually did a couple of houses where we put little mini orchards in the corner, and kind of I was envisioning that you could have like an almost an amphitheater concept to it.
Yeah.
So if you have the space, that is, and if you don't, then you go for a espalier along your fence, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of nice to be able to just go. I walk through the farm checking the trees and eating apples as I go. So
Yeah, honestly, that sounds so cool. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to answer all our questions today. It's been really interesting. And I feel like our trees will probably be better off this year with the tips you have. So I appreciate it.
no time, anytime. I mean, it's no problem. Put all those words together. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Stacey. See you
Okay.
guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.